All right. Well, thanks for coming to today's breathwork practice. I've titled this one Sigh of Relief. Sigh of Relief. One of my favorite types of breath is the sigh. It's been one that um kind of like keeps coming back for me. It's one that it's in vogue, I guess we could say. So let's talk about the sigh a little bit. There are some types of breath that have kind of had these like specific designations, like it has its own name, right? And so why is that the case? There aren't very many like that. So like the sigh and the yawn is another one. We won't talk about the yawn so much because I'll go on a big tangent, and I love yawning as well. But we'll talk about the sigh today. So, what is a sigh? Uh, why is it important or useful? The definition that I like to use for a sigh is really simple. It's just a big inhale, an exaggerated or emphasized exhale, usually audible. Usually audible. So that's a sigh. It is based in our physiology. So there was some research done by Stanford and UCLA where they found that there's about 200 neurons in the brainstem, called our psi neurons. So what happens basically is our CO2 levels rise, and it kind of signals, or it crosses the threshold. The psi neurons release, um, they initiate the response, and then we do the sigh. So that's the big inhale, exaggerated exhale. On average, we sigh spontaneously 12 times per hour, much of which is goes unnoticed, right? That's normal breathing. So we're supposed to be sighing 12 times per hour. That's about every 5 minutes. And yeah, I don't notice every sigh that I do. I definitely don't notice 12 times per hour. But that's what's happening normally. It is possible that for different reasons, people can sigh way more than that, and that would be abnormal, be pathological. And we can also sigh fewer times than that, also abnormal, pathological. Um, Slumping. So to that point, slumping like on our phone is just a really big one, common one where we just see people the sighing um, almost goes absent, like it almost stops entirely. Who cares? What's the big deal? Well, when we sigh, some really important things happen. So the bigger inhale helps us to get air into the lungs. Because when we zoom in on the lungs, we have these little bubbles. They're called alveoli. That's at the very end of the tubes. And what can happen is they can collapse. They can kind of flatten out like so. And what we need to do then, or how the way that we reinflate those, is by bringing more pressure in, right? More negative pressure, and they kind of pop open. So there's really no like in between. There's no in between. They're either flattened, like flattened grapes, or they're like plump grapes. Kind of what they look like, in my opinion. So when they kind of pop back open, then it takes less pressure to then bring air into that alveoli, and then breathe with less resistance. So what kind of happens throughout the day is these little micro collapses, like they just boop, kind of go like this here, and then we need to reinflate them. So it's really nice that that happens automatically, right? Once every 5 minutes, just boop, they all pop back open, less resistance, we breathe more easily. So that's kind of the big premise on the physiologic side. Now, um, there the kind of the general theme around psi, because we're a social species, like it obviously communicates things to to people. Like it means something. So kind of one kind of quick like phrasing that I found was this dual message of something is wrong, but there's nothing that can be done about it. From there, we can kind of we can we have different types of sighs, and so we can't have what we would typically deem negative ones and positive ones. The negative ones are just more common. I don't know if that kind of points to like our general negativity bias as humans, but the negative ones are generally triggered by like a mismatch in like internal physiologic state and kind of our expectation of the external environment. Hopefully that makes sense. So we all know these ones. It's the sigh of frustration. There's a sigh of resignation, a sigh of boredom, and a sigh of like sadness, loneliness. The positive ones are the sigh of relief, which is the one that we'll focus on today. There's a sigh of satisfaction, a sigh of longing slash wistfulness. So those are the positive ones. And then there was also this, I found this other grouping of types of sighs that we intentionally do as part of a way to communicate with others. And so they said, what it said was there's one of like marking that you're about to speak, kind of like a, I don't know. I have some friends who do that really well, where they sigh and they're like, they can tell that my sentence is about to trail off or about to end. They like sigh in anticipation and then they're like right in. It like signals that like, okay, yeah, uh, stop speaking after the end of the sentence or like that type of thing. And it works really well. It's really fluid. And then there's one of like empathy, a sigh of empathy. And then the other one that they said was a sigh of passive aggression. And so, whether it's intentional or whether it's conscious or subconscious, those are the communicative, the conversational ones. But like I said, we'll practice, we'll really um, emphasize the sigh of relief today. So when I think of the sigh of relief, the one that I think is my favorite is what I call like the coming home sigh. So I get home from work, I take a backpack, I set my backpack down, and I'm like, right? Big inhale followed by a longer, kind of more exaggerated exhale. It also, I just tend to do it with this normal patterning, right? So when we inhale, it's more of this spinal extension, ribs come up, shoulders back. And then I exhale, we just kind of let it go, body sinks down, things relax. Feels really good. Feels really good when I do that. Uh, Now that would be one sigh. Typically, I think in a lot of situations, one sigh is what happens, right? Just one, and then we feel that shift, that transition in our nervous system, and then we carry on. But we can also we can practice sighs, right? You could do sighing for 5 minutes straight if you wanted to. You could do it for the whole practice. And oftentimes when we look at the when we look at the extremes or like when we practice something like that and we just keep on sighing, we'll get a very good felt sense of the effect of that sigh, right? We do it over and over and over again. It amplifies the effect, and we're like, okay, that's exactly what happens when we do this type of breath, right? Um, so so that's kind of like the sigh in a nutshell. And the sigh of relief is, I think, just one of the maybe undervalued or under practiced ones. And one of the reasons is because it does send a signal to those around us. So I can count on, more than one hand the number of times where I sighed intentionally just because I'm feeling some tension or a little bit of anxiety, or like these types of things, and I sigh. And someone's like, "Hey, what's wrong?" Like, then I gotta be like, "Oh, nothing's wrong," or something is wrong, but I won't go into, like it's so loaded, right? So I I'm really attempting to normalize the sigh. Like I really want to shift the culture. Like let's just normalize the sigh. Let's let it just be something that like does become a signal, like, but nothing's wrong, right? It's just, so in my household with my partner, what we've tried to like normalize is like when we do a sigh, I compliment my partner. I'm like, oh, that's a good sigh. Right? It's just like, oh, that's really nice. And because there's this effect of co-regulation, like when she sighs, like it kind of prompts me. It's not as contagious as a yawn, but it is kind of contagious in that our both of our nervous systems are going to shift together in most instances, right? Unless we're very, off. But if we're pretty close, like someone sighs, maybe I sigh as well, like it feels good for all those involved. And I think that can happen both in small groups and it can happen in larger groups too. Like, I kind of have like a medium-sized group at work and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think that's like really most of how I'm thinking about the sigh. There's more to unpack there, but uh, probably enough talking. We can start getting into the breathing. Yeah. Any questions about the sigh or anything that we've talked about so far? If you have any questions, let's just start to get into our practice day. I'll guide us through a number of like different types of sigh. So even the sigh of relief can have like different mechanics or different flavors to it. So we'll get into that. Go ahead and let's just kind of move the body around a little bit. So nothing, we won't overcomplicate it today. Just allow the movement, the stretching to be intuitive. Um, generally, I generally I like to think about forward, backward, rotation of the spine, and then side to side. That checks a lot of boxes for us, and also getting some movement through the rib cage, through the thoracic spine. In the same way that we can reduce resistance by popping up the alveoli, we can also reduce the amount of effort by loosening up the moving components, the moving parts of the breath. And that definitely includes the rib cage. Rib cage and thoracic spine just tends to get really stiff for a lot of people. I see it all the time in the clinic. It's like for some of my patients, it's 90% of what we do. It's like just trying to get the rib cage to move a little bit better. So, once you're feeling pretty good with loosening up the body, go ahead and start to get into your position that you'll be in for the breath work. I recommend lying down, usually. Sitting is okay, but I think lying down is preferable. And just start to get really comfortable. Start to ease in. And what I like to just remind everybody of is that everything I say is just a prompt. So this is your practice. You're welcome to really do whatever you want. Breathe however you want. Um, if your breath kind of gets away from you, you can always return back to normal breathing, especially as we like get into like the big ramp up. Like you can always come back down and just, feel free to adjust. It doesn't have to be a perfect crescendo. It can have a little bit of ebb and flow to that. I encourage you to listen to your body. It often knows best and will guide you as we make our way through this really dynamic breathing process. So with that said, yeah, we'll get started. Music will begin in just a couple seconds. And here we go. Getting comfortable is an important part of this process. So just start to sink in. If there's any part of you that wants to wiggle around a little bit more or stretch one last time, I recommend doing that. So that, we'll begin to scan the body, starting at the toes, the tip of the toes. Then as we make our way through the scan, just start to release tension where you find any tension. So in the toes, scanning. Maybe we wiggle the toes just a little bit. And then start to feel the rest of the toes. Making our way up into the calves. Calves and the knees. The front, the back. Inside of the knee. And making our way up front of the thighs, back of the thighs, releasing tension as we go along. Up into the hips, front of the hips, back of the hips, and making our way up into the belly. This is the first place where we start to notice natural movement. Feel the front of the belly. Feel your low back. Again, just releasing tension where you find it. Slowly making our way up into the chest. Releasing tension as we move along. Front of the chest, back of the chest, in our upper back, between our shoulder blades, and making our way into the neck. Feel your throat at the front and the back of the neck. Release tension here. To the jaw and the face. Let go of any tension in the face and the jaw. Do a general scan around the head, maybe the back of the head. Feel some tension that wants to be released. Maybe the top of the head. Maybe there's tension inside the head that wants to be released. We'll start to bring our attention to the sensation of the breath at the nose. Changing it yet. We're just noticing the breath as it is. We can start to put labels on it. Is it fast? Is it slow? Just observing. Is it cold or is it warm? Is it more left? Is it more right? Does it feel rushed? Forced? Does it feel restricted? Or does it feel easy and effortless? Start to feel the movement of your breath at your belly. Focus on the area just below your belly button. Notice the natural rise and fall. that sensation. If you're able to, you can bring your spotlight of attention to the nose and the sensation at the nose. Start to practice our sigh. Starting to practice the sigh and its different flavors. There's no right or wrong way to do a sigh. And we'll just practice the sigh in a playful manner. We'll do it in a way that still keeps curiosity at the forefront. I'll guide you through the first handful of sighs and different ways that we can do it, and then I'll let you keep sighing in any way that you'd like to. So let's start. Deep breath in through the nose, and out the mouth we'll go audible sigh. Deep breath in through the nose again. One more. In through the nose, all the way to the top. And now out through a straw. In through the nose. And we'll start to make the straw smaller. So it takes a little bit longer before we reach the bottom. Try that one again, in through the nose, and out through a straw. One more time like that, even slower, in through the nose, and out through a tiny, tiny straw. Cheeks and the lips stay as relaxed as they can. Next one is in through the nose and out through the nose. Notice how it speeds up just a little bit. In through the nose. And on this next one, let out a little hum. Again, in through the nose. And hum a different note. Time, just like that. In through the nose and out through the nose. Just keep going with the sigh. We'll keep it in through the nose and then either out through the mouth or through the nose. That's up to you. A little bit of space here to play. See if you can discover a sigh that's even more relaxing. You can play with the pace. Play with how deep the inhale is. The inhale, we still move from the bottom up. this wave of movement from the pelvic floor into the belly, up into the chest. And then if you really want to take a deep inhale, you can sneak a little bit of air underneath the collarbones. Find some relief and relaxation. Have the opportunity to come back to a normal breath. But if it's feeling good, if it's feeling relaxing, keep going with the sighs. About another minute here to practice, and if there's a type of sigh that you haven't practiced yet, one that you haven't played with. Just a moment, we'll practice the type of sigh where we take a really big inhale and then we'll go out through a straw, a really, really tiny straw, and then we'll pause at the bottom. So go ahead and try that now. Deep inhale. Sneak a little bit of air under the collarbones. And let out nice, long, relaxing exhale through the mouth, through a tiny straw. And then we'll just sink to the bottom. We're letting out about 75 to 80% of our air and just resting in the pause. This is our first breath retention. Be relaxed. Maybe you want to scan the body again, searching for any tension that wants to be released. When it feels like it wants to, whenever that urge arrives, go ahead and take that inhale, no rush terms. Let it come naturally, and then let the normal breath return. Start to prepare your mind to build the breath. breath in and out through the nose. Focusing on the sensation of the air moving through the nostrils. Start to let it build. Equal parts inhale, equal part exhale. Some nice deep breathing here. Doesn't need to be fast yet. But fast enough that we can certainly feel a lot of the movement through the nose. Even by giving the breath 5-10% effort, begin to naturally build both in depth and in ease. Feels like it's topped out. You might be ready to shift. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. No longer using our straw, but allowing the mouth to open a little bit wider so that the breath falls out a little bit more quickly. Again, letting the face build. And if you're ready, start to shift to mouth breathing. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. Notice how it naturally builds the pace. Time for a few more breaths here. Last few seconds. We'll take a deep breath. 3, 2, 1. All the way to the top. Little hold. And start to let it go through that straw again. Slowly, slowly, reaching the bottom. Once again, just resting after 75 to 80% of the air has left the lung. Release any tension in the body. The air hunger returns, just invite it back like an old friend. And when you're ready, when you feel the urge to take that beautiful, slow inhale through the nose. When you reach the top, hold for a little bit and just give yourself a little squeeze from the bottom up, from the pelvic floor, and then squeeze chest all the way up to the crown of the head. Just let it go. Letting the normal breath return. Starting to build up the breath again. Endo will be a little bit slower, picking up the pace a little bit faster, shifting to our cycle breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. This section of our breath work today may be the most intense part that we do. See if you can embrace that intensity. Find some enjoyment in moving the breath quickly. When you're ready, shift to mouth breathing. In through the mouth, out through the mouth. Doesn't have to be wide open right away. Use your mouth, use the aperture to gauge how quickly you want the breath to move. Last few seconds here, stay locked in. One more deep, beautiful breath in, fill it up all the way to the top, sneak some air underneath the collarbones, hold it here. And we're gonna let it out through the nose this time with a hum. Effortless. All the way down, slowly, slowly. Reaching the bottom. Let the breath settle in here. Pausing in our breath retention. Relax. At this point, you know what to do. Invite the breath back in whenever it's ready. Stay open, stay receptive. Cycle, let your normal breath return. ahead and start to do your favorite sigh of the ones that you've practiced. Pick your favorite and just do sigh after sigh. Just practice just that one flavor of sighing. Notice if that sigh has changed at all, or if the effect that it has on the body has changed. Maybe it's subtle, maybe it's obvious. Start to soften the breath, slowly making our way back to a normal breathing pattern. But blend it. See if the sigh slowly becomes a normal breath. Returning to the sensations of the breath at the nose and the sensation of the breath moving at the belly. Keep your attention here for just a couple minutes. Savor the relaxation and the relief that you've cultivated. And spark up the sensation of gratitude in the body. Don't think about it, just feel it. Starting to make our way back to the space. Feel the rest of your body. Really brief scan and maybe begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Slowly, slowly making our way back. Opening the eyes will be the last movement that we do. Feel free to stretch organically, intuitively. Whenever you do decide to open your eyes, don't look at anything, any one thing in particular. Just take in the full field of vision. Tongue of the stars dancing through my teeth. I let the old fall. As always, thank you for practicing for yourself, for us, for our community, and all those that you'll interact with today. At this point, you could take a nap. You could continue to just breathe. You could jot down some notes. And as always, I'll be hanging out, so if you want to chat, share, ask questions, I'm here for it. And we'll pause the recording.